Welcome everybody to Facebook Live. You know who it is. It's Chris Hopper in the house.
Hi, I'm Kirsten.
So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm going to give my story and say what's up. Say hi, Bun. Tonight I'm going to be giving my story. Remember, this is an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. So that means that anything you hear here or what you see here, please let it stay here. Here. So I don't care about anonymity for myself, but as far as the people in this room, they do understand anonymity. And if they want to be seen, they will. If not, you'll just hear their voices. So anything other than that, I just want to welcome you to the Alcoholics Anonymous meeting at the Hopper House. You're more than welcome to come. 7 p.m. on Fridays, 7 p.m. on Thursdays. And I hope that you come and see us at baptisms tomorrow live. And you also see us on, on Sunday morning for 8:30 service. So we just thank you for tuning in once again, and God bless you. We'll see you in the room out there. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey guys. Hey, did they already start?
Yes.
They did? Alright, cool. Alright guys, my name's Stuart. I'm a grateful Theodore, and I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic.
Hey, James.
My sober date is 11/17/20, and for that I'm very grateful every single day. Welcome to the Hopper House Community AA meeting. Tonight is speaker night. We have two great speakers from the Hopper House speaking tonight. First, our brother Bradley's going to share a little bit, but that'll come up. And then our brother Chris, the owner of this place, is going to share something. Yeah. Anyway, let's start with a moment of silence followed by the prayer. Serenity prayer, please. Together.
God, grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to give.
All right, so a preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Are there any newcomers in the room? Anybody?
It should be three.
Yeah. Three? Would y'all like to stand up and introduce yourselves, please?
New ones that came in today.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
My name's Matt.
Matt.
Welcome.
Joey.
My name's Michelle with the drill.
All right. Are there any AA related announcements?
Sober.
So, yeah, should be a lot of sober people. I'm just messing around. Sorry. All right. Is anybody opposed to vaping during the meeting? No. All right. You can vape. All right. Please silence your cell phones. If you do have your cell phone, please silence your cell phone. We do have two speakers up for tonight. We don't want their share to be interrupted, please. Please keep the profanity to a minimum for our spiritual principles. The donation basket is going to be passed around to keep up with our 7th tradition. Contributions will cover rent, utilities, and coffee, and they're going to pass that basket around right now. If you do have it, please put it in the basket. If you don't, cool. Thanks for being here. I've asked someone to read how it works.
My name's Brian, I'm an alcoholic. God gave me clean date February 23rd, 22. This is how it works. Rarely ever seen a person fail who is thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover, people who cannot and will not completely give themselves to the program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such important. They are not a fault. They seem to have been born that way. They're naturally capable of grasping, developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. And those who suffer from great emotional and mental disorders. Many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. The story disclosed in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. You got to decide you want what we have, and are willing to go to any length to get it. Be ready to take such steps. Some of these we follow. Which helps us find an easier, softer way. We cannot. So all the instances that I command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us try to hold on to our old ideas and result with illness with that go out. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, fasting, and power. Without help, it's too much for us. There is one who has all power, and that one is God. We can find him now. Athanasius the builder's nothing. It's just a term that we ask to protect and care with the man. Here are the steps we took, which is suggested in the program recovery. For one, we knew we were powerless over alcohol that allowed us to become man. For two, came to believe that the power of ourselves was a source of sanity. For three, made a decision to turn our will and allow us to carry God's way instead of. For four, a certain spiritual inventory of ourselves. For five, God for ourselves and let human beings examine for our wrongs. For six, we're trying to ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, we humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings. Number 8, may us of all persons we had harmed became willing to make amends to them all. Number 9, we direct amends to such people wherever possible, except we do so when into them or others. Number 10, we take personal inventory we are wrong, promptly admit it. Number 11, self-declaring meditation to prove our constant contact with God's will instead of in order to knowledge and work with us and power to get it out. 12, having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, God to protect our knowledge, practice principles, and all our Christians. Many of us exclaim, we're in order, I can't go through it. Now be assured, no one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect ignorance of these principles. We're not saints. The point is that we're willing to grow on spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. Claim spiritual progress by these principles. As scripture of the alcoholic, chapter the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after these clear three pertinent ideas. A, that we're alcoholics, cannot manage our own lives. B, probably no human power that will relieve our alcoholism. C, God couldn't.
Where we stop?
And I've asked someone to read the 12 traditions, please.
Hey, Don.
All right, Dalton.
One, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon our unity. 2, for our group purpose, there's the one ultimate authority of loving God who may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. 3, the only requirement for AA membership is desire to stop drinking. 4, each group should be autonomous, except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5, each group but one primary purpose, to carry this message to the alcoholics to a substance. 6, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or name the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise that has problems with money, property, and perceived diverge from the primary purpose. 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our services centers may employ special workers. 9, AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name never be drawn into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We always maintain personal anonymity as the level of press, radio, and film. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place
Principles for personality.
Thanks, Dalton. Hey, Dalton. Right, Dalton.
All right, guys, we're gonna have somebody. Well, my brother Jeffrey, yeah, he's gonna introduce the first speaker. I've had the pleasure of sponsoring Jeffrey, and it's been amazing seeing him grow at this facility. And anyway, Jeffrey.
My name is Jeff. I'm an alcoholic. Clean date 12/29/22. I'm very grateful for that. I'm gonna introduce this gentleman, man. He's my sponsee, man. You know, he has excelled way beyond my expectation, but the man is doing good, and I love him. So, Bradley, come on up here.
Hello, my name is Bradley. I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober all day today, and that has a lot to do with God and a little to do with me. Okay, so let's see here. I'm kind of a little bit nervous. But all right, I guess we'll start. I was born in 1987, Midland, Texas. Obviously to my mom and dad. My mom's name was Jackie. My dad's name is Tim. So yeah, man, I can remember. I had a fairly decent childhood. You know, nothing real bad. Like you know, but I remember from a young age, no matter where I went, I always wanted to be somewhere else. I came up to about the third grade with the lady that gave birth to me, and then from there, I wanted to go live with I go see my dad and them on the summers. So eventually, I was like, it was better at my dad's house. You know what I mean? I can remember at my dad's house, I had clean socks, man. You know what I mean? And back then, like that was the coolest thing to me, man. Was just having clean socks, you know, and not just clean ones, but new ones all the time. And so I wanted to leave my mom and come stay with my dad, and I got to stay with my dad, and then from there, my dad and them they lived in the city. Well, my granny and papa, which were my dad's parents, they lived in the country. Had a pond out there. We had the garden, go karts, shoot guns, you know, all that stuff. So then I wanted to leave the city and go live with my granny and papa, which were my dad's parents. So just from a young age, I get somewhere and then I want to be somewhere else. I get somewhere and I want to be somewhere else. So like, and that was way before like the drinking or the drugging kicked in, right? I was always irritable, restless, and discontented no matter where I went. I know that today, but at the time I didn't understand it. But today I understand that I suffered from this disease of alcoholism early on, before I actually ever picked up and put in, you know. So I remember that first time me and my cousin, we snuck a little 6-pack and we drank it. And boy, I thought, man, I was on top of the world. That was the best feeling I ever had. That's back then. That was right when there was a tornado that had hit in Midland. And me and my cousin were out there drinking this 6-pack, and it started to hail. You know, we're out there, and then my granny comes out, get in the house. We didn't know we're out here drinking. There's a damn tornado going on. You know, so from an early age, I like to be on the edge, you know, flirt with the danger or whatever. So after that, it just snowballed, man. I kind of came up under my cousins. I went to live with my granny and papa, and you know, they did the best they could. You know, they had already raised their kids, and they just did the best they could. I never wanted for anything. You know, I can't say that I had a bad childhood. I know today that I can look back and realize that all my troubles throughout my whole life were my fault. You know, and that's what this I had something to do with them. You know, that's what this program has taught me is to take responsibility for my actions and my fault. And I still struggle with that today, but thankfully, being around these rooms long enough, you have people that don't want to. No, we don't want to hear that. Let's move forward. Get to what we're gonna do about it. So yeah, man. So then it just progressed. It progressed from there, you know, to you know, drugs is a part of my story, or I should say, narcotics is a part of my story. From an early age, all the way, you know, early age, third grade. I'm in third grade. Have this, that up in there. And I remember one time, my third grade teacher, she called my dad, and she's like, "What's wrong with your son?" Because even back then, I didn't brush my hair. I didn't do nothing with my hair back then, right? But up before that point, my granny kept me sharp. I had the little comb over, you know, and dress nice, no wrinkles, everything from the cleaners. And then somewhere along the way, it just, that outside look just started to match the way I felt on the inside, which was just irritable, restless, and discontented. So I was always doing the wild things because like, you know, that's kind of what made me fit in, or that's what back then I felt like what made people respect me was like, okay, Bradley will do it. Let's get him to do it. You know, Bradley will do it. I'll do it. You know, blah blah blah. So it just progressed from there, and then I came up under my cousins, and you know, my granny, papa, my dad, everybody did the best they could for me. They tried to help me as much as I would let them, but I didn't really let a lot of people help me. I would keep things bottled up inside me. Dad would always be like, man, what's wrong? What's up? Talk to me. He wouldn't even say what's wrong. He'd just be like, just talk to me, son. And I'm good. I'm good. And all I could think about was getting that next drink. Let me out of the truck. Dad, drop me off. I'll be good, you know? And so that progressed throughout through junior high, elementary, junior high. I played sports, all that. Dropped out of sports right before the 10th grade. Dropped out of there. Ended up getting in trouble. I didn't get to finish 10th, 11th, and 12th. I had to go to the Cobra School, which is like school for the bad kids. And sad to say, but that's where I made the best grades of my life. Was in that Cobra School. Because they would just give us the book and the worksheets and be like, it's in the book, there's the worksheets, find the answer. Okay, I can get with that. And so made it through that, probation, got put on probation early on, finished that, and you know, like the fees was like $20 a month or so. And I'd be like, dang, yeah, let's just go pay it off. Let's just let me pay this whole 20 right now. He's like, no, son, you're gonna pay $5 a week. You're gonna pay $5 a week. And I guess he was just, but I'm only gonna give you this 120, and you better you only gonna pay $5 a week. So I guess he was just trying to teach me responsibility there. So made it through that, blah blah. Went to prison, went to state jail the first time for I was bad off on this whole disease of mine, and you know, I've done everything. I've done all the scumbag stuff, man. You know, stole pills from my dying granny, stole money from my grandparents, stole money, wrote checks from my dad. You know, my dad had his own business, and I was so bad off. I found one of his checkbooks. I just wrote it out right to my name and everything. You know, I wasn't even trying to deny that I did that. You know, and I remember that time I was out in the barn and I was doing my thing, and next thing you know, my dad, he snuck up on me, kicked me dead in the rear, boy. What is this? I couldn't do nothing but own it. You know what I mean? It had my signature, picture of my ID, everything. I was like, yeah, Dad, I did that. And so I had to go do some time for that. You know, it's one of those things, being responsible for my actions. You know, you go to jail. Period. Don't matter who it is. I got the time. So there's that. Fast forward through all that. I'm making through all that, and then somewhere around I've been trying to get a hold of this thing since 2016. It was actually my sister that put me on this whole recovery thing, and that was a crazy weekend. For some reason, you know, I was thinking about checking out that weekend, and for some reason, my sister kept pulling me in. No, come stay with her, and then finally on that Monday, she popped me. You going to rehab today? So I went to rehab. There you go. So then I get my first taste of AA, and I show up in these rooms of AA, and they're like, I see all these people, they're laughing, having fun, cutting up, and they're glad to see me. They were actually truly glad to see me, and I hadn't felt that. I hadn't felt that in a long time, man. Like, glad you're here. I'm like, I must not. Y'all don't know who I am, and what I've done. But come to find out, they're just a room of people just like me that have found a way out. So it's luckily for these rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and other rooms like it, and the people that have worked the steps, and the people that live by these principles and walk these steps out is the only reason I'm standing here today, man. Because over and over and over and over, I dropped the ball, or I just give up. Like, what's the point? But today I realize the point is to be better, get better, and be better so I can give back, to the world. That's the point. It's not about Bradley, what Bradley can get out of life. It's what can Bradley pack into the stream of life. So luckily, I was gifted with the gift of desperation. I had a good sponsor. He actually came to the spot, and it was like, "You coming with me, man?" And he never gave up on me. Still to this day. So that's why I'm here. I'm glad I got to get here, because I had to change. No matter where I can go, I can find it, right? But it is a big deal for me to have to change my playground, because like here now, where I've come here now, the Hopper House in San Angelo, all I know is this place and people in recovery. I don't know anything outside of it, so I'm not drawn away from it. I just stay in the circle, and luckily that I was invited here. I was accepted here, and man, Lord knows I don't deserve the grace that I've got, but I mean, I guess He knows I do deserve it. I don't know what I'm trying to say there. I don't deserve it, but God has granted it to me through people in the program, and thank God for this program and the Hopper House for inviting me here. And what I love about it so much, man, is like, we don't want to hear no BS. Like, let's get to the solution. I remember when I first got here, I was like, I'm trying to justify this, that, and the other. Nah. Where are you drinking? Yeah, okay. We'll start from there. And that's just the way I need to hear it. You know what I mean? It's not that they're being, I need that kind of love. And so I'm glad to be a member of this program, a member of the Hopper House community. And I think it's a great thing, because, when all else fails, working with another alcoholic is this. When everything else fails, working with another alcoholic, that's what'll work. And that's what the Chris and Brandy Hopper have done, is just work with many people. So like, that is a true testament of like, it works, working with other alcoholics. We'll keep doing so. Thank you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, people around the world, this next speaker, this gentleman, I met for the first time at Jesus Rocks the River. I used to live down the street from his house that he owns downtown, the first sober living that he opened here in San Angelo. He is a testament to figuring out what works. He really, really does well in his life to help people. That is really one of his true goals, is to help. Christopher Hopper.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Hopper House. Good. I guess, life isn't always about me. Yeah, but I want it to be. Right? I want life to be all about Chris. I want to tell you something, that Bill and Bob, they were onto something when they figured out what it took for recovery. And there's many of people that couldn't figure out, doctors, psychiatrists, they couldn't figure out what it was going to take for an alcoholic mind to get clean and sober. And so tonight, I don't know if I introduced myself, but I'm just going to say I'm Chris. I'm an alcoholic, 11/19/12. I want to take you back to 1934 when Bill and Bob were working on this program. It says, my friend had emphasized that the absolute necessity for demonstrating these principles in all my affairs, particularly when it was imperative to work with others. As he had worked with me, faith without works was dead. That's what he said. And how appallingly true for the alcoholic, for if an alcoholic failed to perfect and enlarge his spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice for others, he could not survive the certain trial and low spots ahead. If he did not work, he would surely drink again. And if he drank, he would surely die. Then faith would be dead indeed. With us, it is just like that. So I want to think about that for a minute. I'm up here today. I started this morning at 6:30 in the morning going to witness to people. Why? Because that's what Bill said I have to do for the rest of my life. If I want this program to work. Why do I listen to Bill? Well, let's think about it. 1934, it's been working since then. It's probably a good place to start. And if you think about the books, let me start with a little facts about the book real quick. So the book, if you look at the 1, 2, and 3rd edition, the first page is Doctor's opinion. If you look at the 4th edition, the first page is Bill's story. You know why? Because nobody cares about the doctor's opinion. They want to hear from the addict. They want to hear from the alcoholic. How many treatment centers have you been to and you're like, dude, I'm listening. I'm taking some of that stuff in because I have to. But the truth is you ain't been nowhere I've been. So I really don't want to hear nothing you got to say. Which is why the alcoholic is the best remedy for another alcoholic. Can I get an amen? Amen. Can we clap for that? So I'll tell you that one of the best things about being an alcoholic and an addict is that I can relate to you. If I can't relate to you, what's the point in trying to speak to you about my success? You don't care about my success. If I don't relate to you, how can you care about my success? So I want to tell you something about me. The whole point of these programs is that we identify with the suffering alcoholic. Alcoholism is killing people every day, and in our community, we're seeing it live. You're in the fire with some of the worst, men, ladies. You've got mental illnesses running rampant. You got egos flaring up, prison, probation, jail. I mean, it's all right here. You ain't got to go nowhere for fun. You got it all right here. It is the most challenging place to be for someone who is ready to change their life. But it's also one of the safest places to be. Because we know we're all here for the right reason. And the moment that we find out someone's not here for the right reason, they got to go. Because if they don't go, they'll take this whole place down. And that's not what we want. I'm sure that everyone in here has been in a place that did not appreciate it. And that was not clean. But it said it was. Matter of fact, I take a lot of people in who do. So I want to tell you, I had 3 earthly fathers. How did that happen? The one who put me and my mom disappeared. The one who got with my mom at the strip club appeared. The one that got with my mom at the strip club disappeared. Then the one that raised me from 9 on up stayed around. Each one of these taught me something, right? One of them was how to abandon what you created or responsibilities. The other one taught me how to abuse women, use them for what they're not good for, take advantage of people, and beat people up. Yeah. The last one taught me how to stay drunk and work hard for a living. Those are some amazing things that my dad's taught me, that my relative dads taught me, that the ones that raised me up. You see, so I'm fighting all this in my head as a kid. On top of that, I was molested at the age of 5. 5 to 7, I was molested. Grew up in dysfunctional family. I mean, Does it sound dysfunctional yet? As it gets weird. And the great thing about it is I was able to overcome that and grow from that. The problem is I use that as fuel to fuel my alcoholism for the rest of my life. My first use was at 13, and that's when I ran away. 15, I was in prison for the first time. I burnt the school up. Yeah. That's amazing, ain't it? Thank God I didn't hurt nobody. So I just want to let you know, the fire was safe. You know what I'm saying? It was a safe fire, man. I spent a year and a half and was released and resumed dysfunction. My dad and I sold drugs in the same house. I also altered my birth certificate at the age of 15 so that I could go to work on a drilling rig. I was 15, working for the first time 7 days a week because my stepdad come in and said, you're either going to go to work or you're going to go back to school. And I don't know about you, but who wants to go to school? Huh? Who wants to go to school? So I didn't go to school. I went to work. I drank 2 drops of bleach in a big gallon jug of water to pass the drug test, altered my birth certificate, and I went to work. Oh, man. After countless jail trips for many different reasons, at the age of 18, I did my first adult prison sentence. So I want to let you guys know something. Our program talks about Alcoholics Anonymous being an anonymous program. We're here to share our experience, strength, and hope with each other. And how it works, it says our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. With that being said, I want to be able to keep on track about how my life went. This is the story. There's many stories inside of that story. And so I'm not going to focus or entertain you with a lot of little stories inside of the big story. I just want you to know I'm just like you. And I'm going to tell you enough for you to realize that I am just like you. I own this place, man, but I am just right here on the same level as you are. Nobody else owns this place. I know that's a hard reality when you come in. It's like, man, where's the real dude that owns this place? I just want to see him. I want to talk to that dude. And a matter of fact, I've had one to come in one time, and he brought me outside, and he goes, hey, man, I know the truth. And I said, okay, tell me, because obviously I don't know. And he said, I know who the real owner is. He said, man, I hope you'll let me know when you find out, because I got some things to complain about. And unfortunately, he was wrong. Oh, at the age of 18, I did my first adult prison sentence. I had met a female, and that female would stick by me through most of my wild life. No kids at this time, and I was headed nowhere fast. After release, I kept myself together, got my girlfriend pregnant, and picked up a DWI, my third one. This violated my parole. There goes time number 2 to the penitentiary. This time I had a child, though. Once again, my girlfriend stayed by me and even got married before going back. Spent about 16 months this time in prison. By this time, I'm already looking at almost 5 years in prison that I've done wasted. I'm now 21 and ready to step out and be a man. Got off parole, had a good job. I want to tell you, has anybody read more about alcoholism? There's 3 stories in there. Have you read them? Fred, Jim, and the Jaywalker. Huh? Fred, 20 years, Jim barely starting, and the Jaywalker doing the insanity of walking in front of that bus time and time and time again. No matter what, he always walked in front of that bus. What did I say? He's an alcoholic. He's got an alcoholic mind. Why? It says in the first edition, forward to the first edition, that we suffer from a hopeless state of mind and body. That means I don't know how to live. The only way that I know how to live is from what I was taught from dysfunction. Think about that. Dysfunction, molestation. I don't even want to talk to you about some of this stuff. It's just not believable. I mean, some things are hard to understand and grasp. I'm sure you got your own story. But I'll tell you this. I took what I knew and I was applying it All I wanted was just to be different than them. I didn't care if I drank or if I smoked. It was a daily occurrence. Outside issues were a daily occurrence. I smoked weed to wake up. I drank on the weekend, and I smoked crack on payday. But I made it to work every single day. And so I thought that that's all that mattered. As long as I was making it to work, taking care of my kids, saving money, I wasn't living like my mom and my dad were. I was focused on life. I was doing good. It was amazing. Got off parole, had a good job, made great money, but the problem was still there. For the next 9 years, think about that for a minute. Jim, 20 years. Chris Hopper, 9 years. I built a family of 2 kids, land, business, and all the things that looked like it was going really good on the outside. Although the whole time I was smoking and drinking. Countless fights, trips to jail, hospital stays, many charges. I'll just stop right there for a minute. I'll just tell you this. I've been shot twice. Got holes and scars and been shot with a shotgun in my face. 25 in my leg. And I've had my throat cut 3 times. I've been stabbed twice. And I'm just paraphrasing some of these things. Not for bragging reasons, but to let you know, man, my disease takes it to the insanity and deeper. Because once I start going, I go. I didn't do more time because I always had enough money to buy the lawyers. I was in the hospital twice in drug-induced comas because I was afraid I wasn't going to make it. I hit 2 cars head on. My motorcycle drove 4 blocks down the road. I fought in a cage for 2 years because I thought, you know what, man, I'm from the penitentiary. Been fighting since I was 5. I remember the first fight I got into. My grandma said, I'll tell you this because it's a funny story. That's all. I'm about 5 years old, and I go into grandma and I say, hey, look out, man, this dude keep picking on me. She goes, go whoop his ass. And she said, but son, how many times has he violated you? And I said, once. She said, well, if he violates you 3 times, that's where my 3-time rule came from. If he violates you 3 times, son, then you just whoop his ass. I said, okay, Grandma, that's what I'll do. I called her Shamu. Okay, Shamu, that's what I'll do. So I runs out there and I said, hey, look out, bro. I bet you can't jump over my fence 3 times. Hey, I'm an alcoholic, bro. So guess what happened on the 3rd time? I ain't done it. The rest is history, right? I say this to say that. In 2008, fighting in the cage, doing all this stuff. I mean, I'm an alcoholic, man. Sometimes I do too much. I had a license. I moved mobile homes, as you can see. And so they called me and said, hey, man, you got to get a license in Austin, Texas to be able to set up homes legally. So I say, okay, all right. So I'll go down there. So I get my wife now. And we go to Austin, Texas. We leave our kids somewhere. And hey, while we're in Austin, we ain't never seen 6th Street. Now I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So we went to 6th Street. I'm a cage fighter. 6th Street. People are giving me free everything. Mohawks standing up and down. It's a good day. My wife looks at me and says, Bev, I'm tired. I'm ready to go back to the motel. She said, okay. So I take her back. Put her to bed. Go back to 6th Street. I'm just trying to be honest with you, man. When she wakes up, I'm in jail. No car. I had abandoned my wife to go out and have fun on 6th Street. And I got in a fight with 5 cops that night. Those cops tased me 2 times from 2 different people. And all 4 of them put their knees on my stomach and blew my stomach out in 3 spots. So now I'm in jail in a different town. My wife's struggling, trying to figure out how to get her car back and how to get me out of jail. And my life just took a terrible turn because now I'm in pain. I can't fight in the cage no more. My life just stopped right there. I think it was a God intervention at that moment. And I know it's hard to see, but at that moment, man, I knew my life was fixing to change. But I'll go ahead and finish and tell you why I didn't let it for a minute. So I go back home. I got 3 knots poking out my stomach. And I got to go back to the gym and tell my coach that I can't fight in the cage no more. And he looks at me and he goes, hey, man, bad boy Leonard Garcia is here today. And I'm like, no kidding. He said, yeah. And he wants to spar with you. And on top of that, the fight in Rio Doso, the title has backed out. And they want you to fight for the title. And at that moment, man, what I had done fell on top of me so hard because all I wanted to be was something great. You see, there's a book that says, I will make you famous. And I've always felt that, man. I just didn't know where that fame was going to come from. I will make your name great. I just didn't know where that greatness was going to come from. I thought I was going to be a rapper at first. And then I heard some other dudes, and I'm like, I don't think so. And then I start fighting in the cage, and I'm like, man, I'm being king. I'm a champion. UFC. And I blew my stomach out. And so all of my dreams are starting to crash, man. I got a good job. I got some good things going on. But I've got an addiction. I got to smoke 10 joints a day. I still drink every single weekend. I love cocaine whenever I'm off. So I don't know how it's going to work. I tell you, I went and had mesh put in my stomach. So I got mesh from up here all the way down above my groin to hold my guts in. After I had that surgery, man, now I can't. I got a business. I can't go. I'm sitting on a chair, and I don't know what to do. One day, father-in-law, somebody I got working for me, comes up to me and says, hey, man, I got something that'll make that pain go away. It's the first day I smoked it all. After that, I was hurting forever. Because it took the pain away, man. Not only the physical pain, but it took my inside pain away. I didn't have any more pain. The problem was, now, as wiry as I am without drugs, now I'm 10 times as bad. Can't stay at home. Can't sleep. I'm laying in bed, shaking and easy. Got 6 hours to lay there before my wife knows I can get up. You know what I mean? Timing it. You know what I'm talking about? Trying to time it. What time to get up? Finally, one day, my wife comes out to the camper and sees me out in my man cave. And she comes out and says, hey, man, I just want to be with you. And so that was the day that me and my wife started the journey of addiction together. I never stopped after that. But I keep going. That's what it was like. Now you've got a little glimpse. Let me tell you what happened. I'm not going to take you a ton through stuff. CPS was called. I'm hauling mobile homes. I'm high as is. CPS called when they showed up, man. I'm smoking a joint at that time. I have no respect for authority or anybody else. I'm 25. My life is amazing. I've got assets out the butt. My kids have their own playset. They have their own dirt bike track. They have their own. My wife had a brand new convertible, a 95 convertible restored. I got a bike, cars, trucks. I mean, everything in my life says functioning. And that CPS officer showed up. I hit her in the face with that joint. And I told her, bitch, you need to get off my property. Needless to say, she got off my property. I went to move a trailer house and my wife called me and said, hey, they're here to take the kids. At that moment, my life crashed, man. I knew something was wrong at that moment. I thank God to this day for CPS. Because they took a wretch like me and they turned me into who I am today. I ended up going to do a 35 stint Turning Point. I told my wife that I would take the blame for everything, that she could get the kids. Now this means that no longer do I have a house, a home, or nothing, so my kids can go home. So now I'm living outside of my car, an RV with holes all in it, wondering where I'm gonna get my food. My wife's trying to bring me food every now and then. It's just a terrible life. I decided to move out the house. I couldn't come back home. My children were given back to my wife when I did. And then I had free reign to do whatever I wanted to do. I had been mandated to go to rehab, and so I did, although I didn't want to be there. I just did it to please the court. After rehab, remember, they forced me to go to rehab. I knew nothing about AA, NA, or none of it. When they forced me to go to NA and AA to Turning Point, I started learning. What happened? They planted a seed. In recovery, we are farmers. We are here to plant the seed. Some of those seeds don't never grow. Some of those seeds die. Some of them grow on very slick ground and they blow off. But the ones who get rooted in this program, in this life, they do big things for people. Oh, after a time of living a crazier life, I got pulled over. I got caught with 4 separate felony drugs. Since this would be my 3rd conviction, I thought I was going to do 25 to life. And I'll tell you, I don't even got to look at this paper to tell you this story. At that moment, my wife, my ex-wife, because I have a new wife now, my ex-wife came up and said, "Deuces, bitch, it's the only way I can get rid of you." Now I'm in prison. I'm in jail. I'm facing 4 separate felony charges, 4th conviction. I'm facing life, 25 to life in prison. All my money and support just walked out with the middle finger. I have no kids. My wife took the rights to my kids away while I was in there. And all I'm doing is running amok inside that jail because I'm miserable. What happened? Lawyer comes out. 86-year-old. I'll never forget his name. His name's Thomas Hirsch. He comes up at 86 years old. I get a visit. I go down there and I'm like, "How can I help you?" He goes, "No, how can I help you?" He had done so much work for me that he had seen. You see, God was doing something. I didn't know what it was. God was doing something at that moment. I wasn't seeing it. I didn't care about it. Don't want to hear it. None of that. He sat down and looked at me and said, "Man, if I take your case, will you pay me?" I laughed. 86, 25. You do the math. Of course I'll pay you if you make it. But I'm serious, right? I'll pay him if I get out. And he's still alive. I just didn't feel he would be. He come back 2 months later, somewhere about that. And he sat down and he said, "Hey man, I need you to sign these papers and I'll get you out of here." And I said, "What'd you give me?" He said, "I got you 16 months state jail." You see, he had stopped them from enhancing my felony charges and kept them all underneath the state jail felony. Because all of my drugs were under a gram. So he was able to keep that down to a 16-month state jail term. And I got blessed with that. You see, the problem is I didn't see that blessing though. I spent more time in seg than I did in population. Why? Because I had lost everything. My kids, my wife, my life. As I knew it was completely wiped away. I didn't have no more hope, and I had no reason to get out. Maybe I wanted 25, man. I didn't have no reason to get out. And I'll tell you, what shows you I didn't have no reason to get out, the moment that I got out, the first thing I did was picked up the phone and asked my wife if we could start over again. I didn't care what had happened, what she was doing while I was gone. They sold everything that I had while I was in there. I got out to nothing, not even pictures. I don't even have a picture of my children to this day, back whenever we was living. Because of the addiction that ran rampant in my family whenever I left. Everything was sold and gone. And so I'm asking myself, why? Why get out and do right? I say, if I make this phone call and she accepts me, I'll make a difference. And I'm going to tell you what, she didn't. She didn't accept me back. She was tired of my BS, man. She was tired of my lies. She was tired of my cheating. She was tired of everything that addicts do in addiction besides take care of their family. She was done with it. I don't know what her life looked like, but I knew what mine looked like at that moment. It didn't look good. So what did I do? I went and got high. That's what you're supposed to do. No. For the next 4 months, I stayed high and miserable. Matter of fact, I can remember one time I was so high, I was smoking crack in my kitchen waiting for my driller to pick me up. And I went into a seizure because I'd smoked so much dope. And I landed on top of the crack pipe and it went in my stomach. I got scars on my stomach to show you. I got up from that and I pulled it out of my stomach, wiped the blood off and hid it. That's how miserable my life was. You know, it come to a point right then where I realized that it was time for me to do something different. So I kept smoking again, kept staying high. And then one day, I had robbed somebody, a bunch of somebody, and I had collected a lot of money. And I'm at a point where I know that I'm probably going to do life in prison, man. I've already accepted that, man. I'm done. Tired of it. Not going to kill myself, dude. That's not how. I'm going to do the killing myself on an installment plan. Like going to prison for life on an installment plan. Anybody doing that in here? You can raise your hand. It's okay. If you've been here 4 or 5 times, you're doing life on an installment plan. You spend more time in there than you do out here. That's an installment plan of a life. You haven't graduated. We haven't graduated. We still have an addiction. We still have that monkey on our back. Yeah, the load is lightened. We don't have to allow it to strip us and tear us down. But if we leave here before we're ready, guess what's going to happen? We'll think it's a good idea to do some weird stuff that we used to do. And it's not. So I tell you, man, I went to a RV with 2 people. I had a car. All of my belongings, don't have an apartment, nowhere to live anymore. All of my belongings, after 5 months, I got out in May. Now we're looking at November. All of my belongings from getting out of prison, I never collected anything. The apartment that I had never had a piece of furniture in it because I didn't care, man. I didn't care about none of it. Little bag, a box of stuff that I had in the back of my car. I get into that RV with them, with the people or the friends that I had around me. And all of a sudden, I've done some stuff that has completely shut my system down. Now I can't breathe. I can't get up. I can't walk. I can't make a phone call. And I look at those people and I'm like, dude, I'm so hungry. We haven't eaten in over 7 days. I can't breathe. I'm scarred up. I said, man, all I need is some food. And she said, give me the keys and I'll go get you some food. The last $5 we got. I never seen the car again. For 2 more days, I laid in that RV because I couldn't move. My chest was killing me. I didn't know if I was going to survive. I didn't know what was going to happen in my life. But one day, man, I got the courage, I got the energy, and I got the ability to crawl out of that RV. It was raining, man. It was all over me. And I called my little brother, man, because I always do. I called my little brother. I said, come get me. He came and got me. I don't remember nothing else. All I remember is waking up in the hospital. Now, let me tell you about my second dad, the one that taught me the beating people up, the lifestyle, the addiction, and all that stuff, the abusing your wife, all that stuff I learned from him. He'd been clean for 19 years. His name is, you met my dad, raise your hand. Yes. He's been clean for 20-something years now. When I woke up on that hospital bed, my dad he lived in Springfield, Illinois, because he had to change people, places, and things if he wanted his life to get better. He went to Springfield. He hadn't been back to Odessa, Texas in over 5 years. When I woke up on that deathbed, guess who was standing over me? My dad. He said, son, you're going to let this kill you, ain't you? And I said, no, Dad, not today. At that moment, that was my spiritual awakening. Ladies and gentlemen, everything had been taken from me and stripped in my life. I had nothing left. I knew that God didn't want me in prison. Obviously, he didn't want me dead. It's too many times of trial and error, and it didn't work. So now it's time for me to make a decision. Turning point at 35 days. Moved to San Angelo, Texas. Let me tell you what it's like now. I walked everywhere when I got here. Went to 4 meetings a day. Had no job, no money, very little hope. After a few months, I decided to stop in the church because God showed me. And I'm going to be careful about how I go on about these stories. If you want to hear more about them, you can always ask me later. I became a member for 7 years. They became a family to me, and they still are. I continued to get better in my life of recovery and started to build a relationship with God. Started to build a new family. Moved out of sober living after 9 months into my own trailer house. Had money saved, a new career, license back, and a new attitude on life. 2013, CPS called me about seeing my children. And I'll tell you, man, that when CPS called me, I was walking to a meeting. I didn't have no car. I had just picked up a job. I was living in it. Now, when I say, it sounds good when I say I had a mobile home. Sounds good. Have you seen a trap house mobile home? That's what I just bought. I just want to let you know. And I didn't even have to buy it. I picked up the job for the trailer park guy, which was just being a maintenance man, and he gave me that trailer house. And so when CPS called me, I didn't lie when they said, "Do you have a house?" I said, "Yep." "Do you have a car?" "I can get that." "You want to see your kids?" "I do." Be here tomorrow. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, after 6 months of doing that, I had custody of my children. I'll tell you that when I got my kids back, they started restoring what I had. I had to do the work. I started my own business, moving trailers while there, as well as hauling crude oil. So I'll tell you something about that crude oil, to not get too deep in it. So before my kids come back, I've been a tool pusher, a driller, roughneck my whole life, right? I started drilling at 19 and started pushing tools at 25. So when I come to San Angelo, I'm not going to tell them the whole story, Justin. I'm just going to tell them a speed through version. So when I come to San Angelo, I gave up everything, but I didn't want to let go of the drilling jobs. So what did I do? I tried it first. I came here and I waved a sign for Liberty Tax. Anybody seen them out there? Yeah. I did that. With a mask on. I'd be the Joker one day, Scorpion the next day. You know what I mean? Different picture every day. I loved it. I was only making $7 an hour, 4 hours a day, and walking in the middle of winter. Because I got here 11/19/11. After a couple months of doing that, man, it started to end. I got a demolition job. And it just so happens that one of my old tool pushers called me. See, it's just the disease. One of my old pushers found me, seen I was here, called me and said, "Hey, man, I know you want to come back to drilling." And I'm like, "Hey, I've changed people, places, things. One thing I haven't changed is my job. If I'm back. I've got 6 months clean. Surely I can do it." Needless to say, after 2 months, I beat the tool pusher up. Kept coming out there drunk and telling me, talking ish to me, man, and I'm a 3-strike type of guy. I'm gonna give you 3 warnings and then I'm gonna go ahead and kick you feet out from underneath of you. So I did that. And then I come back and I'm thinking, okay, God, I almost got the picture, but another drilling company hired me. So I had to try it again. Let me tell you what happened that night. I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I drive 3.5 hours one way to get to the office. I get cleared at the office and they say, "Hey, don't worry about it. We'll need you at the beginning of next week." This is Friday. Hey, awesome, dude. I can go home. I can get some clothes together. The drilling rigs are out in Big Lake. Dude, everything will be great, right? Halfway back home, they call me. "We need you on the rig tonight, 12-hour shifts." And I'm like, "Mud, please." Get home, get my boots, get everything, turn around, head back out there. This is the story you need to hear. I get out to the rig and I walk up on the floor, and the driller's smoking a joint. He says, "Hey man, you want to get high?" And I said, "Yeah, but I can't." I tell him where I'm at, what I'm doing. He said, "Hey man, I respect that, bro. Hey, go down there to the pits and help the derrick can mix mud." So I go down there and I'm helping him mix mud. And he comes out the doghouse with a flask, getting drunk. "Hey man, you want to snoot it in?" I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I do, but I can't."
Amen.
And so I'm mixing this mud, and the whole time I'm thinking about that effing joint. The whole time I'm thinking about, remember, we got a 2-part disease: obsession of the mind, followed by an allergy of the body. Once you pick it up, you can't put it down. I'm sitting down there obsessing about this. The derrick came out and hollered at me, and I said, "Look out, there, you got about, I'm already inflamed thinking about drinking and using right now. You got about 2 more times, and I'm gonna smack the issue out of it." He didn't believe me. So the hopper spit up on me, man. I'm thinking I need to go change my clothes real quick. So I run to the doghouse. I open up the door. The Leton hand's sitting there sorting an ounce of crack cocaine on the bench. I love crack. I love weed. And I likes to drink. He says, "Hey man, you want something?" And I say, "Yeah, I do, but I can't." He said, "Man, I'm an addict, man, and I gotta live without using anymore." And so I get dressed and I go back up on them pits, man. I'm helping that guy. He comes out again and he yells at me, and I say, "Look, dude, today's not a good day, bro. Been up since yesterday. I ain't been on methamphetamine. I'm sleeping in a mud piece. I'm thinking about drugs and alcohol and crack cocaine right now. And it's in the middle of the night. No good. Oh. So what I do, they call for tripping out the hole. Time to get on the floor, the last hour of the day. We get up and we're putting the assembly together. You all right, Tomcat? Okay, good. All right, good enough. If you have to, go outside and walk it off. So I get up on the floor and they're making up the assembly. We didn't have a lot of pipe in the hole. We're coming out. We got the collar in the hole and I'm putting a nubbing in it. Got the collar clamp on it. They pick me up on the collar clamp and I'm screwing the nubbing in. You got the safety man, the tool hand, the tool pusher. Everyone down on the floor right now. The drillers, the hands. I'm up here screwing this up. And the derrick hand looks up at me and said, "Bitch, I told you to screw that sub in faster than that." And I come off of that sub with an elbow. It split him down the middle of his face. And then on the ground, I had him choked out. All I could hear in the background was, "Get off of him, get off of him." But nobody would touch me. I want you to know something. It was starting to get daylight at that time. The lights really didn't matter. But all of a sudden, my face started to inflame. It got so hot that I couldn't stand it. And in that moment of reading out, God got my attention. And whenever I backed up and I realized what I had done, I was just like, "Oh my God, man. Prison for life. Prison, man. This man is down." So they said, "Hey man, please get off the floor. We don't want you out here anymore. That's the first day on that rig." So I got out of my truck and I said, "All right, good enough. It's game over." I put cat line in the back of my truck. I pull up to the steps and I say, as soon as he comes down the steps, I'm fixing to wrap him around his neck and I'm going to drag him down the road. And I'm going to go out with a bang. And I blocked that handrail to that rig floor so that nobody could get by, nobody could come up or go down. I was ready to end my life right there, man, by taking someone else's life. I tell you what happened. I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, hurry the F up because I'm ready to go home, man. I'm ready to get this taken care of. All of a sudden my phone rings. It's one of my pastor friends. He says, "Hey man, think about this for a minute. 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. Ain't nobody got no business calling me. And my pastor friend got something on his heart. When somebody comes up to you and they say, hey man, are you okay? It's because they see something in your heart. And it's okay for you to let it out and talk to them about it. Because let me tell you why. He asked me what I was doing, and I told him because I'm honest. I let him know I was fixing to kill that man. And he said, man, let me pray for you. And then the next thing I'd like for you to do is drive off. And I took his advice, man. I prayed, and then I drove off that location. And when I got off that location, I pulled off to the side of the road. And he said, do me another favor. Call somebody from the program because I don't know what to say to you right now. And guess what I did? I called someone in the program. And the first thing that I did when I got back to San Angelo, Texas, was I pulled into Sherwood. That was my group. That's the group that I always went to. And you know, those people, they didn't tell me you had to. What they said was they gave me an option, right? They said, hey, Chris, you don't have to. But what are you thinking? I'm thinking I'm coming into town, going to Pinky's, I'm getting a fifth, and I'm going to get drunk. He said, good. I mean, that's a great idea. But first, will you come by here? And I said, man, all right. But nothing you'll say will change anything I'm going to do. He said, no problem, man. Just come on by and talk to us. I picked up that 1,000-pound phone. You're going to be at some times in your life that you want to give up. And that it don't seem like it's worth it. And that maybe you're just ready to give it all away, man. Commit spiritual suicide, maybe even physical. But at that moment, that's the time that you've got to be willing. I had to be willing to pick up that phone, guys. Ladies, I stopped in there, spoke with them for 2 hours, and guess what happened? I'm still clean today.
All right.
All right, let me end this up. Woo! Me and my wife met, my new wife, we met. Brandy, mama, you love her, we love her, I love her.
Amen.
2 weeks after marrying her, I want to tell you something, she's on 10 years probation. And when I met her, I'm a terrible felon, got lots of things on my record. And so we go to her probation. Her sober living place had snitched on her to her probation officer, told her that we was hanging out. So her probation officer said, who is he? Ran my name and said, if you continue to see him, you're going to prison. She come out and sat in the car and she said, hey, I don't know what to do. I said, yeah, it's an easy decision. I mean, we're going to have to oh, no, it ain't that easy. I'm willing to go to prison for you. Wow. I wasn't going to get married no more. But I know if we got married, she wasn't going to go to prison. So I asked her to marry me after 2 weeks of being together in that car. And I said, the only thing is I got to ask my kids first. They got to approve of it. If they approve of it, then we'll get married tomorrow. And we did. And everyone said that our marriage would not work. We're celebrating 10 years of marriage this year. Me and my wife live every single day to help the next suffering alcoholic. To give those who want a mom and a dad, to give them a mom and a dad. Those that need a brother, to give them a brother. Those that need a friend, to give them a friend. A sponsor, a pastor, whatever you need, man, I got you. You know what I'm saying? After marriage, she got custody of her kids and was released from probation 5 years early. We raised our children, stayed connected to God, and decided to start sober living to give back what was given to us. Ah, man, I'd love to tell you some more stories, man, but we're just, I got more stories. Today we house 60 men and 12 women. We are the biggest sober living facility in San Angelo, Texas, and we plan to grow bigger and bigger over time. We are now trying to expand into other areas, which is why I'm here today. Today, I'm a grandpa, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a son, I'm a sponsor, I'm a pastor, and I love you. And today, we can recover.
Amen.
It's awful, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Now, who wants some chips?
I ate my food already.
All right.
All right, ate my food.
Oh, you ate some dinner? I think you didn't even share. All right, so food tonight, we are currently out of 24-hour chips, but would anybody like to come up and start their sobriety tonight, start their recovery tonight? 24 hours. Anybody celebrate 24 hours?
Give them a
Starting a new way of life.
Give them a Jimmy
Anybody, any takers, any takers. 24 hours. All right, is anybody celebrating 1 month today? 2 months. 3 months. Oh. Let's see here. Yep. What's your name? What you gonna do with this?
My name's Juan, and I'm gonna collect all of them, man.
Good job, Juan. Anybody else? 2 months. 3 months.
1 month.
1 month. Now it's 3 months. 3 months. Anybody got 3 months? 4 months. 4 months.
Ben.
What's your name? What are you gonna do with this?
My name is Benjamin Preston Bruson, and I'm going to put it in my collection so I can get it next time.
4 months. Anybody else? 4 months. 5 months. 5 months. 5 months. Come on now. Oh, wait. No. You tricked me. You got up right at the right time. 6 months. Anybody got 6 months? 7 months. 7 months. 7 months. 8 months. 9 months. Oh, yeah. 7 and 8. Appreciate it. I skipped on that one. 10 and 11. Still appreciate it. All right. Years go on the board. And they will be celebrated the third Friday of next month. But this month, we do have somebody that is celebrating 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Would you like to come down and receive a chip, sir?
Yeah.
I know we have some. I don't know if we have another.
My name's Brian, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Brian. How you doing, sir?
Man, I can follow that.
Yeah. In line, man.
You know, I never thought I'd be standing here getting any kind of multiple year chip. Never in my life would I think I would get it. But you have to understand, chip in my life. Thank you for giving me what I've needed my entire life. And it really, it just blows me away, man, how, man, even coming from El Paso to here, I had a different agenda until we pulled into that gate and everything changed. Immediately, everything changed. And it wasn't what anybody said or what anybody, it's just the feeling that I felt. Everything inside me changed, all my wants, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, everything changed the second I pulled through that gate. And man, I try to do right by you because all you do is do right by everybody. Amen. And I love you. Thank you.
All right. So, anybody else years? All right. Somebody will come up and read the promises. And we will circle up and close in the normal fashion.
Ellen!
I'm Ellen, I'm an alcoholic. Tomorrow, no friends, I will have 2.5 years. All right, here's the promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, then we are amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? They're being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize.